The May primary is this Tuesday. Voters are deciding who will face off in the November general election in races including Senate, Congress, governor, state legislature, and more. Also, local issues on the ballots, such as school levies. Early voting has been going on for 4 weeks now, leading up to Tuesday's election. If you want to cast an early ballot in person, you can still do that today. I'll have the hours in a minute. This primary, Ohioans can vote on one of 4 ballots: Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, or issues only. So far, more than 250,000 Ohioans have voted either in person or by absentee ballot. That's according to the Secretary of State's office. And keep in mind, roughly 8 million Ohioans are registered to vote. And if you're voting by absentee ballot, that ballot has to be in by 7:30 on election night or it won't be counted. That's new this year. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So it's likely too late to put it in the mail. You might want to take it to your County Board of Elections office yourself. And you can still go to your County Board of Elections office today from 1 to 5 p.m. to vote early in person. There's no voting tomorrow, so election officials and workers can prepare for the big day Tuesday. Then on Tuesday, local polling locations will be open from 6:30 in the morning until 7:30 at night. And you know, Franklin County alone has 298 voting locations. When you go to vote, you'll need one of these forms of acceptable ID: an Ohio driver's license, state of Ohio ID card, U.S. passport, U.S. military ID, or Veterans Affairs ID. And for more information, you can go to voteohio.gov. Joining me now is Franklin County Board of Elections Director Antone White to talk about the preparations and the process to make sure the election is accurate, fair, and secure. Antone, thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Doug.
Appreciate you so much. Let's talk about the big thing this year. That is the change in the law for absentee ballots. What do you want people to know about that situation, considering we're just 2 days out from the election?
Sure. So the state legislature changed the law this year. So now your absentee ballot by mail must be received by your County Board of Election by the close of polls, 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And that's a change. Previously, you had a 4-day grace period for your ballot to be returned to the Board of Elections. Now it must be in our hands by Tuesday at 7:30.
And we're hearing that with the mail service, it's, a 3 to 4 day turnaround, or 2 to 3 days at minimum. So basically, are you telling people if they still have them in their hands now, they should bring them in?
They should bring them up to the Board of Elections. USPS usually, they tell you about 5 days, 5 to 7 business days. So if you're still holding on to it, and if you have the ability, bring it to your County Board of Election.
Do they have to bring it themselves, or can they have somebody else bring it for them?
An immediate family member by law is allowed to bring a family member's absentee ballot. And when they come to the office, they'll have to sign an attestation form indicating that they're returning it on behalf of a family member, but an immediate family member can bring that ballot to the office.
So I've been out to see you a couple times through early voting this year over the last 4 weeks. How would you characterize voter turnout on the early voting side so far?
Yeah, so far it's picking up. The last couple of weeks it's picked up. It's is what we expect for a primary election. So in a primary election, this is when you choose candidates within your political party to go on to the general election. So it's a little lower turnout. It's what we expected. It's getting a lot busier though.
It seems like it's been steady.
It's been very steady.
Like never a line per se, but steady flow.
No, we have a good staff at the Franklin County Board of Elections. We vote people very quickly. So when you vote if you want to come up this Sunday today, it's from 1 to 5. You may see a bit of a line because from 1 to 5, people like to line up early, but we have plenty of equipment, plenty of staff. We'll vote you very quickly.
And what do you expect then for Tuesday as far as turnout?
Tuesday, it's hard to tell. Typically in primary elections, you see anywhere from a 20 to 25% turnout. Okay. We always hope it's higher, but that's what you typically see historically in primary elections.
It's interesting you say you hope it's higher, because obviously I believe that you think it's important for people to get out and vote in a primary in every election. So why do you think primaries are important to get out and cast a ballot?
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity for you, if you want to affiliate yourself with a party, to do so through the primary process. That's how it operates in Ohio. It's a little different than other states. You declare your party affiliation through the primary process. As you indicated earlier, you have 3 primary ballot choices for Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. If you don't want to affiliate yourself with a party, you can always ask for an issues-only ballot, and you can vote issues only if there are issues available in your precinct.
So I guess, are Ohio elections secure?
They are very secure. You know, what makes Ohio different than a lot of states is we operate in a very bipartisan manner. So every step of the election process is handled by members of an opposite party, whether that's tabulating ballots, transporting ballots. We store equipment in rooms that require bipartisan teams to go in together with different sets of keys. We have cameras in our buildings, and so we secure things through chain of custody. So everything we do is very secure. We handle things in a bipartisan manner. We logic and accuracy test every piece of equipment before it goes out on election day to ensure that it's working properly. And all that equipment has been federally certified. It's been certified by the state of Ohio. So many steps in place.
Is that testing going on now, or is that already completed? You know,
We've completed our testing. And we've started to deliver our equipment, so we're ready to go for Election Day.
can machines be hacked?
They cannot be hacked. They're not connected to the internet. They function on their own. The ballot markers we use in Franklin County, I like to call them a big electronic pencil. It records your ballot on a paper, skinny paper ballot. Then you place that ballot into a ballot box or a tabulator at the polling location, and it's a paper trail, right? So that paper ballot you put in your ballot box, that's a paper ballot. It's a backup. It's a way to verify that you voted.
And then on election night, basically the results are always unofficial, right? Until you can do the post-election audit.
Correct. So they're unofficial until we do what was called the official canvass, where we ensure that every check-in matches up with every ballot that was cast, and then we certify the election, and that becomes the official result. And then after we certify and have an official result, we conduct post-election audits. We take a minimum of 5% of the ballots cast in the election in several different races, and we do a hand count. We hand count the paper ballot I just talked about. We compare that to what was tabulated, and that's how we get to, in the state of Ohio, Secretary LaRose likes to say 99.98% accuracy, right?
Basically 100%.
Basically 100%.
Nothing might ever be perfect, but you know, we hear a lot these days about eligible voters or voter fraud. What is in place to make sure that only registered voters in Ohio can vote and that people who are not citizens can vote?
Sure. So on the citizen front, so when we register somebody to vote, we register them. That record is sent to the state of Ohio, to the Secretary of State's office. They conduct those checks on citizenship. And so every record is checked by the Secretary of State. When we register somebody to vote, we maintain that record. That record is so when you go to vote on Election Day, your record's in our poll book. And so we ask every voter to state their name and address, and then we compare that to what's in our poll book. If it's not, or if there's a discrepancy, we can vote a provisional ballot. That's the process where we check your registration against what you've told us to ensure its accuracy.
And then when people come to the polls on Election Day, whether it's early or on Tuesday, they have to have one of those valid forms of ID.
They need to have one of the valid forms of ID you discussed earlier, but the important part is it needs to be unexpired. And so that's the key. So take a look at your license today, and if your license has expired, your state of Ohio ID has expired.
Renew it tomorrow.
Renew it tomorrow so that you're ready to go on Election Day. If you come with an unexpired ID, you would vote a provisional ballot, and then we would verify that after the election. You would need to come to the Board of Elections up to 4 days after the election to show us an unexpired ID. That way we can count your ballot.
Director White, thank you so much. A lot of good
Doug.
information today. I think we're getting people ready for the big day on
Appreciate
Tuesday.
it. Yeah, go vote.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you coming in. Well, and remember to stay with 10 TV on election night for up-to-the-minute results, analysis, and live reports from around the state. We're having a special election streaming show called Ohio Votes from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 10 TV Plus. You can download 10 TV Plus on your TV and watch for free. Also, we'll have full coverage of the primary election results coming up on 10 TV News at 11 and 10tv.com on Tuesday night.